Hey guys, welcome back to the Jay's Flick Show. I'm your host Jay, and today we're going to be talking about CW's The Flash, more specifically Iris West, and the problem with this character on this show. And this is something that, if you watch the series, then you know why people may have this disdain towards Iris West as a character, and it's something that started out slowly, but then it just completely spiked, like out of control in the later seasons, more towards season 4 on to season 9 is when it really got hit its peak, and it was just unbearable to watch sometimes. Watching her as a character, she's portrayed by Candice Patton, and honestly, like watching her and Grant Gustin, who of course plays Barry Allen on the show. It's like they had their chemistry, like was sort of there in the first season, some in the second season, but then like it really just completely went like flat, like from their own point, like from that point going forward, there was no chemistry between the two actors, and I don't know if it's a mixture of that or the writing that just caused her to be a bad character on this show. But let's break down why specifically that is. But before we do that, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Also follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Jay's Flicks. You can find us there. And for all coverage on shows, movies, whatnot. So I'll be dropping more episodes, like coming up here. So you just make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But again, let's get into it. So as you guys know the story, or if you don't know, so in the CW show The Flash, Barry Allen, of course, CSI, he gets struck by lightning and becomes the fastest man alive. Barry Allen, The Flash, and he goes to use his abilities to save the city from metahumans, other people with abilities, and he's got his own little team at Star Labs and whatnot. But the thing about it is, before all that even happened, Barry's mother, when he was a child, got killed by the Reverse Flash, and he and his father went to prison for it. His father was framed for the murder. Then he went to prison. So Barry ended up staying with Joe West, who was a detective who was following the case, and his daughter Iris. And him and Iris grew up together in the same house, became really good friends. Barry developed a crush on her, as probably anybody would, and like growing. If you grow up in an environment with somebody like for a long period of time, obviously that's not family. Like you guys live in the same house and all this stuff. You're more likely not going to develop feelings for them. It's proximity. That's feelings based off proximity. The more you're around someone, the more likely you are to like them. And that's just what the case was with Barry. And however, Iris did not return the feelings. Um, at least at least she didn't think she did, because she ended up dating this cop named Eddie, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so the problem with Iris was that a lot of people have was that her character was just like, they tried to really just do too much of her character. Like, in the first season, like she was okay, she was a side supporting character and that was like a good role for her. But when they catapulted her to the front, like being like the next lead protagonist besides Barry, that's when it really just got out of control, out of whack, and just got really annoying. They made her character really just, I don't know, describe it like, it's like she just grew more, naggy, and she grew more, like anybody that really wasn't Barry, like she just had some type of like, she had this she had this, what's the word, this taste or something like that. I don't know exactly how to describe it. If you watch the show, then you know what I'm talking about. But like the way they wrote her is just was really bad. Like it was bad. She was a bad character. And Candice Patton, I mean, granted, she couldn't do what she was working with, but still just like, if you watch the earlier seasons, like, like when she's not completely out, when she's not completely in the picture on Team Flash, and that's when it was good. But when they tried to make her a main character, part of the main cast, that's when it really got like I said, it just, it got bad, hard to watch, because to me, Iris is not deserving to be a love interest of his or be a main character in that regard, just because she doesn't bring anything to the main Flash crew. as far as just what that's concerned. Like you have Caitlin, who is a team medic and who I actually think would have been a better love interest for Barry, if I'm being honest. And I'm sure a lot of the Flash community agrees with me there. And then you have Cisco Ramon, who is the team's technical expert, the engineer, the mechanical engineer at Star Labs. And of course, Dr. Harrison Wells and his many iterations and doppelgangers. So those are your other core members of Team Flash right in the beginning, along with Barry. And when Iris is brought into the fold, it's like she's left with nothing to do because she doesn't bring anything to the team that could be of good skill or of good regards. And now again, I'm not being misogynistic or anything. I'm not trying to be sexist or nothing like that. That's not what I'm doing because clearly that's that's not what I'm doing here. I'm just saying that Iris, should not have been put in such a position as a character to be like at the forefront of this team and with the main crew because she didn't bring anything much of value to them other than just she was a journalist and she probably had some hunches on maybe some attacks in the city that would go on. So maybe she could give the team like some heads up or things like that, or she could find out source information from sources she may have. But other than that, she really didn't bring anything of value. And even then, they could hack stuff like at Star Labs and find out stuff, anyway. So what she did could easily, the little she did bring to the team, they could have replaced that production with, and so honestly, her and Barry just didn't, to me, have any chemistry, and that was the problem. I think, like I said, Caitlin was a better love interest for him because he confided in Caitlin confided in him, and like one thing else I noticed, Caitlin never got any. And Cisco pointed this out in one episode, but he said that Caitlin's never gotten mad at anybody like she did at Barry in this particular episode that she did. Since she got mad at Ronnie like that, who was her deceased fiance or husband. And that's just one of those things where I was like, wow, because the two of them did have good chemistry. However, even also Barry and Felicity Smoke, who was a character on the show The Arrow, had great chemistry. Him and Patty Spivot, if you know who that is. So it's like he had chemistry with every other female on the show besides Iris West, who was supposed to be his love interest. And that's just the way, and like I said, the way they wrote her character became insufferable throughout the later seasons. Once we got to season 4, so in season 3, Barry went into the Speed Force to keep it stabilized because of Savitar, who was the villain of that season. I know some of you guys probably aren't following. Just if you want to be able to follow, the Flash is streaming on Netflix right now, so go binge watch it. But anyway, for those of my Flash fans, who have seen it, Savitar, they destroy Savitar. However, because Savitar was trapped in the Speed Force before, then a speedster has to take his place to keep it stable, or else the world and the whole universe would have been out of whack. So Barry offered to do it. He went into the Speed Force to keep it stabilized and therefore leaving Iris on Earth in our world. And Iris was then catapulted to be the team leader in Barry's absence. And that just didn't make any sense to me because even nobody in the show even took her seriously as a leader, and she was bossing people around and being, very rude. And I'm like, that's not cool, that's not, I don't even know why Barry would make her like co-team leader in the first place. It didn't make much sense. Honestly, Cisco would have been a better pick, or Dr. Wells, Harry Wells. But they instead decided to choose, he instead decided to choose Iris to be. I understand that was his wife, but see, that's a problem, and that's another thing they say, like, don't mix love and work together, and and here you see why. That's a good example. And when Iris started working with Barry and Team Flash, things just didn't go right. It wasn't right. There's some work, there's certain times where you should keep things separate between you and your partner, and work is one of them. And she started working with Team Flash, and it just didn't I don't know. Like honestly, like the best way I could put it was they just made her character just very naggish and very bossy, and just not the not appealing, not likable. Usually in these type of shows, the female supporting characters, like as far as like maybe the love interest or whatnot, they're there for the support, but they're not trying to completely insert themselves into their partner's like life as far as like their alter life, their superhero life. They're not completely trying to make it to where it's like they're on par with it. They're supporting them, but they're also they still know their backseat role. And Iris wasn't that way. She was basically saying like, yeah, you're the Flash, I am too. She literally said, Barry, you're not the Flash, we are the Flash. And I was like, okay, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. Like if you guys look at the clip, Barry literally his face is just like what did you just say? I'm like, yeah, okay, so Iris, you said we're the Flash. Did you get struck by lightning? Did you have to go into the Speed Force and keep it stabilized to keep the world from destroyed? Did you have to fight three speedster villains that were all very dangerous? Did you have to fight the Reverse Flash? Did you have to fight Zoom? Did you have to fight Savitar? Barry fought Savitar to save your life. To save your life, Savitar was going to kill you, and he saved you from Savitar. So it's like I was just like baffled by that comment by her saying we are the Flash. Like, no, Barry is the Flash. You are Iris West. So it's like she definitely will go down as one of the worst poorly written characters in television history. Iris West, and like I said, this is my first time doing a video about her specifically. I did a video about the Flash a few months back, but I wanted to touch on Iris specifically and the problems that we've had as fans of the show because of the writing and overall the writing of the show did go down in the later few seasons, so it wasn't just all on Iris, but most of it was her. She just became like she was just a character who was there. And she didn't provide any type of spunk or anything to her screen time. Mostly it was Grant doing all the heavy lifting. So that's just my thoughts on Iris West on the CW's The Flash. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think that Iris was a bad character, or did you think she was a good character? I don't know. Let me know what you think, and stay tuned for the next episode here on Jay's Flicks. We'll see you next time.